Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Criminal Justice Corner. Here at Criminal Justice Corner, we give you the real details surrounding the case, and just in case you find yourself in that same situation, we give you potential actionable advice so that you can potentially find your way out of it. I am your host, Dr. Jennifer Matthews, and today I have with me a very special guest, Patti. Patti has a very unique brand, Defense and Heels. I'm so excited for Patti to tell us about Defense and Heels. But before we go into that, Patti, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am a mama of two kiddos. They are older now. I've got almost an adult and an adult. My background is in children's sex crimes. That's kind of my focus in my normal 9 to 5. I have a degree in criminal justice and also in trauma-informed care. And of course, human services, because we got to do that full package to make sure everybody is good when they have been through a traumatic situation.
That is so well rounded of you. I applaud you for that.
Thank
And
you.
maybe that's probably how you got into Defense in Heels. So tell us, what is Defense in Heels?
Of course, Defense in Heels is by women, for women, hands-on self-defense training. So we've all been to like a random self-defense class where it's some dude teaching us something we need to know, and you're like, this doesn't work, or he's teaching me to punch, and I can't punch like he can because I'm not as strong as him. So that's kind of how I created Defense in Heels, is we needed a platform where women can work with women in order to learn the self-defense skills. Generally, we don't actually take self-defense classes until something has happened to us or somebody's super close to us. And so then you're already in a vulnerable situation. And if you're going to take these classes and then it's like this type A aggressive dude who is just barking information at you, you don't retain anything. And so that's kind of how I created the whole thing was, I mean, I'm a type A female. And if I'm getting shut down in these classes, then I can only imagine what everybody else is doing. And so we have by women for women. I've gotten all the training and certification. So then that way I can teach you what you actually need to know and none of the fluff.
Now, when you say for women by women, are all of the instructors at Defense and Heels women?
They are.
So, where is the training? Like, are you mobile? Are you just in one state and everybody has to come to you? How does that part work?
So I am located in Las Vegas, Nevada, but we do travel all over the place. We have done classes in Canada, in Mexico, and all over the US in training women.
That is amazing. So, Defense and Heels, like when I picture it, I'm thinking like women, they come to the training, like they travel and they're coming to the training and they got on heels and they're kicking butt. Is that what it looks like?
Pretty much. So we start without the heels because you need to know the fundamentals, of course. That and
Okay.
then the amount of women that have like poked themselves or hurt themselves in the very beginning is astronomical. So we do the hands-on stuff first. We learn it all first. You even get to practice it against a bad guy suit first. So you know, then you know it works. And then we have our heels aspect of it where we actually teach you how to walk in heels properly. So
What?
I'm a former model. My daughter is a current New York runway model. So we teach you how to walk in these heels properly, and then how to run in heels, and how to do all these self-defense moves while in heels.
That's amazing, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, how long is a class if you're doing all of this?
So we only do 3 hour segments. And the reason being is the science shows that after 3 hours, your brain is done. Like you can't handle anymore. You can't retain anymore. So we do it in 3 hours. And that way you're learning the fundamentals, you're getting to practice with the bad guy suit, and then we work on the heels. A lot of the times we'll break it into 2 classes. So then that way you're getting all the fundamentals in that first class. And then in the second class, we do a recap. We go over anything that you may have not fully understood during that first section, and then we bring in the heels.
So, it's like a 2 day course.
Yes, if you want the full heels. Now, not all of the classes have the heels in it because some people just want the self-defense. They don't actually want the heels.
Okay, so I want the full shebang. So I'm getting a 2 day course. So the 2 day course is 3 hours each day, so a total of 6 hours.
Correct.
And is there one instructor doing this for 2 days or is it like two? How does that look?
We have three main instructors, so we always try to keep them together. So if you're working with myself on day one, day two, I'm also going to be there. But if it's Bailey or Bianca or any of the other gals that we have, we try to keep them together. Depending on the class size, you might have 2 or 3 instructors. Sometimes the smaller classes, you just have one instructor. But
Okay.
it's consistent. We don't want to throw a random person at you on day 2 where you're
Okay.
like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who you are. No,
Yes.
it'll be
Okay.
consistent.
So give me a scenario where a young lady may need to use a defense and heels tactic.
Of course. So we start women at the rape position. That is the scariest one psychologically to work through, but
Okay.
also it builds on, we build on that one. So you start there and you build and you build and you build to learn
Okay.
all of the other self-defense moves. But unfortunately, 1 in 4 women will experience sexual assault in their lifetime. 70% of that is before they turn 18. So we teach them that position because it is the scariest and unfortunately going to happen to the majority of people.
So that is like the number one scenario that you're teaching in your classes.
Yes,
Wow. Okay. So you said rape position?
correct.
Okay. So the rape position is what you're teaching in the classes. What is the next scenario that you're teaching?
So we go through tons of different ones building off from the rape, but another one that the gals love is what to do if somebody grabs your hair and how to get out of it.
What do you do?
So in this case, there's a couple different methods to it, but the easiest way to remember it is to grab, twist, and drop. So let's say somebody's grabbing your hair right here. You're going to take your hands, wrap them around, and pull it in tight, and then twist and drop.
Mm?
That's the best way. Now, we incorporate a lot of other things in that as well, but that essentially stops the attack and also makes it so you're not ripping out your hair.
Yeah, because that happens.
It does. It does. Well, that and one of the things that they say when bad guys are looking to find a woman is she wearing a ponytail? Because a ponytail can
Mm.
easily be controlled. They can
It definitely
easily,
can.
yeah, and they can drag you, they can pull you, they can do whatever they want with a ponytail. So if
Mm.
you know how to stop that, maybe even turn it against them,
Yeah,
then you'll be able to get out of that attack.
absolutely. Now, if that is what happens, we know that women, normally like your fight or flight
Mhm.
response is going to take over. How do
Correct.
you teach women to not like immediately fall back on that?
So part of that with fight, flight, and freeze is by taking the self-defense classes. So I
Hmm.
always ask the gals, like in the beginning of the class, who has a brother? Because when they come around the corner, if they have a brother, they're like, going to punch their brother when their brother scares them. But the
That's
gals
true.
who did not have brothers are like, oh, no, 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 I got to stop. Or I scream. And
Yeah.
so taking ongoing self defense classes and then learning how to build your confidence in the self defense classes helps it so that you're able to move forward and that you're less likely to get attacked. You also have that confidence, but you're building through that fight, flight, and freeze.
Hmm.
And what happens is the research behind self defense classes is if you take a self defense class, you won't freeze. You're either going to
Mm.
flee or fight. And the more classes you take, the stronger that percentage of what you're going to do happens.
Now, what made you want to start Defense and Heals? Because we know, yes, a lot of people have been exposed to self defense classes. Not everyone is out here creating a self defense program, a self defense business. Like, that's huge and a huge undertaking to travel the world and make an impact in people's lives like you're doing. What made you want to go that step?
It's a couple different things. So I unfortunately fall into a lot of the crime stats, and I did not want that for my children. I don't want that
Okay.
for my friends, my family. So I kind of gotten into like the law enforcement world, and that's when I was kind of getting into the self defense world. I had a black belt as a kid, but that's like, as a kid. And in this class, there was a type A aggressive police officer that was teaching the class. And I was currently in a domestic violence situation and I shut down.
Mm.
I was teaching the class with him and I shut down because of how he was
Wait,
teaching.
wait. Was it the domestic partner you were teaching the class with or the
No, no,
aggressive
no.
person? Okay.
Yeah, I was in that type of a relationship at the time. And then
Okay.
the other instructor in this class was an officer who just was very type A aggressive. Like,
Got it. Okay.
mean cop, that was totally his persona.
Got
And
it.
I
Okay.
shut down during the class. And I was like I said at the beginning, like if I'm shutting down, everybody is going to shut down because I'm the
Totally.
freaking instructor in this class. Like I am aggressive in of itself when it comes to like that whole type A thing, and I'm
Yeah.
shutting down. And so that was when I kind of geared into, I need to do something different. I need to be that change. So then that way, when these women come to these classes, you're already in a vulnerable situation. You're
Already.
already, yeah, and I put you in the right position to start. So you're extremely vulnerable. You need
Hmm.
to feel confident. And I want to be that. I want to be that person that helps you build your confidence and learns these moves. And that's just kind of how I created all of it. It started with like just taking over that class. And then it moved into, well, I'm actually really good at this. Maybe I should start a business with it because I like what I'm doing. I'm having fun. I'm empowering people. That fire in the eyes of women when you teach them something and they're like, no, I can't get it. I can't get it. Like
And then they
there's no
get
way.
it.
And there's a fire in their eyes, and that is my high. So, I mean, almost 20 years later, here I am.
20.
Yeah. Because I was 18, 19 when I started. So it's been a long time and I'm
Now,
loving it.
now, what certifications do you have? Because I remember you said you had certifications. So, what certifications do you have that is allowing you to do this and have so much fun with it? What certifications?
I have gotten pretty much every self-defense certification under the sun. So there is a Jitsu one, there's a Girls on Guard one, there is RAD, there is, oh my goodness, now I'm trying to think of all the names of them. I have probably 15 of the women's ones. And then there's also the kids classes. So I love teaching kids and empowering them as well. So Play It Safe is my favorite when it comes to kids programs.
Okay.
I actually just signed up for USCCA so that I can start teaching the gun classes and more hands on self defense classes as well, because there's not
Mm.
enough women empowering women in today's society.
Wow, that's huge for the record. So, not only are you teaching the women, you're also teaching the students. Now, are you going into schools teaching these self defense classes?
I have a little bit. My favorite is the college girls and Girl Scouts. Those are my favorite groups to work with. College girls, because the first 4 months of college is the most dangerous in their entire life. Oh, yeah. Well, it's the first time away from home. It's also the boys'
Yes,
first time away from home. Everybody needs to learn how to work with their urges, and let's throw in drugs and alcohol because most college kids experiment and everything else
absolutely.
going on. And so the first 4 months, that's the most dangerous time.
And then I'm sure when you're telling these college girls that they're surprised,
Yeah.
they're
And they
like,
tend to
I can be a
giggle and
victim.
laugh. And then you get the one that's like, nope, but this real.
And it
And
happened
they,
to
oh,
that
yeah.
poor girl.
Yeah,
And then they
exactly.
probably come up to you later and tell you all about it.
Yes. The super brave ones will talk about it during the class to the rest of the college girls, but the ones who are still working through it, they'll
Yeah.
definitely come to me afterwards and tell me all about it.
And then they'll probably want a little bit more support from you because of that.
100%.
Now, has there ever been a time when you've been, let's say, at a training or something like that, and you've seen something and have had to react?
I wouldn't say at a training because those are all, controlled environments. Yeah, the most everybody controls their environment really well in a training situation.
Okay.
But I would say as a, single female walking around, I have definitely had those creepers following you.
Really?
Parking garages are one of the most dangerous places in the world for women, and I have definitely used a Kubotan against somebody in a parking garage before. I have definitely had to use a little bit of my moves to protect myself over the years.
Really?
It's
So you were
it's part of
happy.
life, unfortunately, with all these horrible crime stats, and that's only based off of what's reported. Most crimes aren't even
Exactly.
reported.
It's so true. And so I'm sure when those incidents occurred with you that you were happy that you had those trainings.
Very much so.
And imagine the women who, again, like you just said, don't report, and the other women who don't have the trainings
Yeah,
and they
and that's
fall
the scary
victim.
part.
Exactly. They fall victim. They don't have the tools necessary to defend themselves, or unfortunately, they have the tools, but they were overpowered because that can happen.
It definitely can, which is why when I'm teaching, I'm trying to give them tons of different ways to counter everything. And then I also talk about the element of surprise. You can counter anything and you can do anything if you have the element of surprise. And don't be afraid to run away. A lot of these gals are like, I'm going to beat him up and then I'm going to hurt him. And you're like, no, 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 no. One, that you become the aggressor at that point, so don't do that. But also, like, all you need to do is run. Like, if you're
Yeah.
4 seconds ahead and you're running away, you're good. Like, run away. let the
Yes.
cops handle the bad guy after you're safe.
Absolutely. And I think that's really good advice because a lot of times, once we as people, we feel like we got the upper hand, we feel like, okay, I have the upper hand, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And sometimes the tables can turn. So I think that's really good advice to give people, hey, just run away, get yourself to safety, and then let the cops handle it because the tables turn so quickly and we know what that outcome can look like, what that outcome can be. And it's not always good. It's not always a favorable outcome for you, even though you might have had the upper hand for, let's say, 2 minutes or 3 minutes or however long. Like you said, the element of surprise, it can always go the other way too. They could have an accomplice, they could have anything, they could have a
Oh yeah.
trap.
Oh yeah.
And that could be the element of surprise that you didn't see, that you didn't know, and now you're even more vulnerable than when you began.
And like you said, it could be just 2 or 3 minutes that you're ahead. That's a long time. Look at the UFC fighters and how worn out they are after one round, and they do
Ooh.
multiple. Like, it drains you physically, mentally. When you are in fight, flight, and freeze, like, your body just reacts to muscle memory, and then you go into the, oh my goodness, what just happened? Ah, and then, shut down. You just
The
completely crash after
adrenaline
that.
dump, as they call
Yes,
it.
that's the word.
That adrenaline dump. Yes,
Yes.
no, I remember. I remember years ago. I was a deputy sheriff and I had got into, I'll call it a scuffle with a prisoner. And she and I were tussling and tussling for, it seemed like forever. I'm sure it was not. Let's be clear.
It feels like it though.
It totally felt like forever. However, like assistants came and they took me out of the situation. However, when they took me out, it took me forever. So even longer than I thought I was involved, it took me forever just to catch my breath. And
Hmm.
she and I were not like throwing punches or anything like that. We were not. But it took me forever to catch my breath. And they were like, "Do we need to call the ambulance?" And I'm like, "No, I just need to catch my breath."
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
it. And I just couldn't. I could not catch my breath. And we were just literally just tussling. We weren't punching each other. We weren't doing anything. But it took me forever to catch my breath. So I know
Oh yeah. That's
exactly what you're
exactly what
saying
happened.
when it's like 2 or 3 minutes. Just like that adrenaline dump because I didn't expect to be tussling with somebody that day.
Right. Exactly.
you know, and
This is
it was a
not something
regular
that you
day to
generally
me.
plan.
Exactly. I didn't expect that. I'm sure she didn't expect it either. And I was just like, just trying to catch my breath. And when I did, of course, I felt better. But it's that adrenaline dump. It's your body trying to compensate for what just happened. Your body didn't expect it. You didn't expect it. So your body's like trying to figure it all out and get you back to normal. So I totally, totally get what you're saying and understand how that can be. So all of that going on at the same time, that's why when police officers are on the scene of a crime and they're battling or fighting with a suspect, they get assistance and they're like, okay, you come out of the fight because now everything is heightened for that person.
Hmm.
They're bound to do anything.
Right.
They're not in their right mind anymore.
Exactly.
So this is why I understand and I 100% agree with your training and I'm all for self-defense skills because you never know until it happens to you. We can talk about it, we can watch it on TV, we can watch it in a movie, we can say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We can say all of those things. And guess what? We might, but we never know until we're there in it.
Exactly. And that's why
We
you
don't
need the
know.
training.
And that is why you need the training. And that's why everybody trains. What do basketball players do? They train. What do football players do? They train. What do police officers do? They train. Practice, practice, practice. That's the only way you're going to improve anything. And that's why I
Exactly.
think you're right when you say defense and heals. And that's why you say the more training, the better. I am an advocate when it comes to practice. If you want to be good at something, you have to practice. That's the only way. And now, don't get me wrong, I think your 2 day training, even your 1 day training, is going to be better than nothing. But if you want to be proficient, you're going to have to continue that training on a regular basis. And
100%.
I'm not saying you have to, spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to get proficient in one thing. They could take your 2 day training and then continue the training on YouTube, continue the training virtually.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. I tell people they need to take a class at least once a quarter because it is the use or lose skill. If you
Mm-hmm.
take it once and you're like, oh, I took it once in college. Yeah, how many years ago was that? Because I'm going to
Exactly.
say months. You need to take it every 3 months minimum.
Minimum. Because, like you say,
Yes,
if you don't use it, you lose it. And then
100%.
something happens, and then you're trying to, like, remember, and then everything is happening, and it's like, um, uh,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
all happening at one time.
Right.
I 150% agree with you, and I support you in that. Practice, practice, practice. You know why? Because it can save a life.
100%.
And that's what we preach here at Criminal Justice Corner. That is what we preach. Things that can help you in the long run, things that will change your life, things that can be prevented. Nothing is 100% preventable, but practicing your self-defense skills, practicing things that can running away in a situation that might not be the best for you, listening to your instincts, listening to your gut. Those types of things will save you in the long run.
100%.
What's something that you tell your classes?
I always tell them that awareness can stop 90% of crimes. And the reason being is just like you were talking about with the gut instinct and paying attention. So if you keep your head on a bobble and you're just paying attention to what's going on, the research shows the bad guy's doesn't want you because you're paying attention to what's going on. He wants the easy target. Same thing with um, knowing your gut instinct. Like that is something as grown up women we have to work on because we are preconditioned as little girls to be nice, to be polite, that it's okay if the boy picks on you. That just means he likes you. Or give that uncle that you don't like a hug. I said so, do it. So we're preconditioned to not listen to our gut instinct. However, research shows that a woman's intuition is more than 90% correct. So if you think you're crazy, you're not. You just need to pay attention to what's up because your body's telling you something's up. So paying attention to like what's going on, head
Mm-hmm.
on a swivel, carry something in your hands. I always tell people carry a Kubotan or even a metal pen in their hands that
Mm-hmm.
you can use in self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are just little things that people can do, but awareness is the biggest thing. Paying attention. Do not be walking and talking on your cell phone or texting and walking on your phone. I call that the zombie apocalypse because anything and everything can happen, and all you're going to do is walk into a pole.
And it happens. Do you know how many times I'll see, they have the little TV shows, people are like texting and then they like fall in the hole?
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, are you serious? Like that
yeah.
was so preventable.
100%. They're just not paying attention to what's going on around them. They're more worried about the text message that can wait 2 minutes. Because if it couldn't wait 2 minutes, it would have been a phone call.
It's the truth. It is the truth. Now, where can my listeners find Defense and Heals? Because this training is invaluable.
Definitely check out my website, defenseandheals.com. Any social media, it's all on there. And if you don't see a class that works with your schedule, hit me up. My email and cell phone's also on the website.
That is amazing. So you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're on all of that.
TikTok, everything. Oh yeah.
And TikTok? Wow.
I'm,
I
I'm
got
I need to increase my TikTok skills. I'm great at watching. My
I
video
was just
skills are not
about
as
to
great.
say that. Like I gotta see your TikToks. Are you doing like some defense moves on TikTok? What are you doing?
Yes.
Okay. I gotta check it out. I like to watch TikTok. I'm not a savvy on TikTok, but I'm gonna have to watch it and see what you're doing on there. I love Instagram for the record. You'll find me on Instagram. I live there. I tell everybody that I live on Instagram. That's my home. But I'll go over to TikTok and see what you got going on over there.
Sound good.
Awesome. So if you have not already done so, check out Patti over on Defense and Heal. She's in Vegas, but guess what? She travels. So there's no reason for you guys not to check her out and get those Defense and Heal classes. This is something that can save your life. There's no reason to not check her out. Please do. And if you have not already done so, please like, subscribe, and share. And please comment below if you like this episode so that we can keep bringing you more. And we'll see you on the next episode of Criminal Justice Corner. Thank you.